What is the most amount of money I've made as an Uber driver and as a Lyft driver in just one trip? The amount, $110. I hate YouTubers that ramble on, so I know that's exactly what you want to hear. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I actually don't think that's as crazy, probably compared to a lot of other drivers. I guarantee there are probably some drivers watching this being like, really? Only 110 and the highest and the most amount of money you've made in just one trip? I've made way more than that. But that's the amount. That's the exact amount of money I made. I briefly touched upon this yesterday, actually, when I talked about these new features Uber is rolling out where you could see exactly where you're going to be dropping them off and the fact that you're going to be compensated more depending on where you go and a lot of other factors. What happened with this ride is I was in Boston. This is around maybe like 5:30 p.m., so around the evening commuting hours, and I remember I got a ride. Now, back in the day, you have no idea where they were going, how long it was going to be, where you were dropping them off. You were completely in the dark. So I was driving and I saw it was a 1.5x surge with Lyft. Now I was like, all right, great. 1.5x, meaning whatever the amount is, it's 1.5 times that. So I went to pick the person up, and when I arrived, when I click, hey, I arrived, that's when I got to see, where they were going, how long the ride was going to be, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, I see this zoomed out map of Massachusetts going from Boston all the way to the center of Massachusetts around the Worcester area. And I was like, wait, this has got to be wrong. It's a 1.5x surge. This is during like the peak of traffic, 5:30 p.m. They want to go halfway across the state. Like maybe they typed in the wrong address, like you never know. So this mom gets in the car. She had 2 kids with her. We start talking. She goes, hey, I'm really sorry about the ride. I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. I just wanted to double check. And she goes, yeah, I live around the Worcester area, so I do know this is going to be a bit of a long ride, especially with the traffic going on and everything going on right now, but I really appreciate it. I'm like, oh, no problem here. So ended up driving her to her destination. It took about an hour, which I'm not gonna lie, isn't that bad. During peak traffic hour, luckily there actually wasn't that much traffic. I thought it was gonna be way worse, and it probably should have been, but given that time period, it only took about an hour to go from where I picked her up to where I dropped her off. And after I dropped her off, she gave me a $10 tip, and that came out to be roughly about $110 for that one ride. The worst part though, and this is kind of the bittersweet part of this, is as you can imagine now, I have to drive all the way back. So this entire trip, so to speak, took about 2 hours. And when I was heading back, I was considering, well, do I want to put my destination filter on? In case you don't know, with a destination filter, as it sounds, you could pick an area and say to the app like, hey, I want to make sure that the next ride I get, the drop-off point is in this given area. Usually it's by your house or by wherever you're going. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, you know what though? I just made $110, and if you do the math out, given the fact that it was a 2-hour round trip, it's like making $55 an hour. I mean, well, actually it is, right? And I was like, you know what? I'd much rather just say, that's it for the day, made $110 in that ride. I get to drive back with no one else in my car, so I can put on a podcast, I can listen to music or whatever, and that's what I did. So that is the most expensive ride I've had as a driver. Let me know what you think in the comments in terms of other drivers. What is the most expensive ride you've ever had?